The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Tuesday, December 31. Will's creepy discovery. Electra runs and hides from Remy. The Bold and the Beautiful B&B. Spoilers for Tuesday, December 31. Reveal that Katie Logan, Heather Tong, will feel even worse as Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, goes into more detail about Electra Forrester's, Linnea Grace, life in Dallas getting turned upside down by deep fake photos. Now Katie has upended Electra's life once again by firing her over the Fox pics sent to her inbox. As Katie talks about her regrets and desire to make things right, she'll continue to see just how dangerous AI can be when it's used to target others. While Katie and Ivy discuss this serious subject, Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, will try to get Electra on the phone. Although Will obviously wants to explain the mistake at Forrester Creations and reassure Electra about her job, he also wants to warn her that someone's out to get her. Of course, Electra already knows since she's in the middle of a scary face-off with Remy Price, Christian Weissman, at his apartment. Remy has been making some unsettling threats against Will, so Electra will grow increasingly concerned for his safety as well as her own. At some point, B&B spoilers say Electra will finally be able to make a break for it, but she won't get very far. It looks like Remy will follow Electra down to the basement level of a parking garage that's perhaps being used for storage. Whatever the case, Electra will duck out of sight and hope that Remy doesn't find her, but Remy will be highly motivated to track his obsession down. It may not be long until Remy hears a noise and finds Electra in the room she's shut herself in. As for Will, he'll make a creepy discovery. If Will ends up at Remy's lair, he may see the disturbing photo collage and realize Electra's friend is responsible for all the deepfake drama. There might even be signs of a struggle if Electra bashes Remy in the head with something before she makes her escape. Will may see some things scattered on the floor and worry that Electra is now running from Remy. Back with Electra, it appears she'll still have her phone in hiding, so she may finally get a message to Will once she's able to catch her breath. One way or another, Will's going to ride to the rescue on his motorcycle at some point this week. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Will's going to make some updates to his plans along the way, so we'll pass along more predictions on all the chaotic news that's looming. The sun was setting over the iconic Los Angeles skyline, casting a golden glow across the Forrester estate. Inside the sprawling mansion, tension buzzed like static electricity. The family and their associates were embroiled in yet another web of secrets, betrayals, and unexpected revelations. Will's creepy discovery. Young Will Spencer had been instructed to stay out of trouble for the evening, but curiosity was in his DNA, a Spencer trait no doubt inherited from his father Bill. As the adults engaged in heated conversations and exchanged furtive glances in the main living room, Will wandered upstairs, his youthful inquisitiveness getting the better of him. While exploring an unused wing of the mansion, Will stumbled upon a dusty, forgotten storage room. He pushed open the heavy door, coughing as a cloud of dust greeted him. Boxes were piled haphazardly, and old furniture was draped with sheets. But what caught his attention was a peculiar trunk, its brass fittings gleaming despite the surrounding grime. Something about it felt wrong. He hesitated, a chill running down his spine, but he couldn't resist. Kneeling, he unlatched the trunk and lifted the lid. Inside, he found an assortment of items: old photographs, cryptic letters, and a small, intricately carved wooden box. Will's fingers trembled as he opened the box, revealing a collection of strange symbols etched into dark stones. A faint hum filled the air, and the room seemed to darken. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, startling him. He quickly closed the box, shoved it back into the trunk, and closed the lid. But the sense of unease lingered. Who did these items belong to, and why were they hidden? Electra's dilemma. Meanwhile, across town, Electra Whitmore sat in her modest apartment, a glass of wine trembling in her hand. She'd been on edge for weeks, Ever since Remy, the enigmatic and dangerous man from her past, had resurfaced. She thought she'd left that part of her life behind, but his recent texts had shattered her sense of safety. "You can't hide forever, Electra," the last message had read. The words were chillingly devoid of emotion, yet they carried a weight that made her stomach churn. Electra's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call. Her heart raced as she saw Remy's name flashing on the screen. She didn't answer, but she knew what she had to do. Grabbing a packed duffel bag, she slipped out of her apartment and into the night, her every step filled with the urgency of someone being hunted. Intersecting paths. Back at the Forrester estate, the discovery of Will's whereabouts sent the family into a frenzy. Katie and Bill had been in the middle of a heated argument when they noticed their son's absence. "He's just a kid, Bill," Katie snapped, worry etched across her face. "He shouldn't be wandering around alone in this house." Bill, uncharacteristically subdued, nodded. "We'll find him. Let's split up." As they searched, Will appeared at the top of the stairs, his face pale. "Mom? Dad?" he called, his voice trembling. Relief washed over Katie as she ran to him. "Will, where have you been?" Will hesitated, unsure if he should reveal what he'd found. "Just exploring," he muttered, his eyes darting to the adults in the room. Ridge and Brooke exchanged concerned glances, sensing that something was amiss. The chase begins. In another part of the city, Electra's flight was fraught with peril. She darted through alleyways and boarded a late-night bus, her eyes scanning for any sign of Remy. Her mind raced with thoughts of escape. She'd been through too much to let him drag her back into his world. But Remy was relentless. A master manipulator and skilled tracker, he had a knack for finding people who didn't want to be found. As Electra disembarked at a quiet, suburban neighborhood, she felt a presence behind her. She quickened her pace, her hand clutching the strap of her bag tightly. "Electra," a deep voice called, sending shivers down her spine. She turned to see Remy standing under a street lamp, his face partially obscured by shadows. His smile was as cold as his tone. "Running doesn't suit you." Electra's fight-or-flight instincts kicked in. Without a word, she bolted, her footsteps echoing against the empty streets. She didn't know where she was heading, only that she needed to get away. Confrontations and revelations. Back at the Forrester estate, Will finally confessed to his parents about the trunk. "I found something weird upstairs," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Katie's concern deepened. "What kind of something?" Will described the trunk and its contents, leaving out the part about the strange stones. Bill's expression darkened. "Show me," he demanded. As they ventured to the storage room, the tension was palpable. When they reached the trunk, Bill's face hardened. This isn't ours," he said, his voice laced with unease. Ridge, who had followed them, stepped forward. "It might belong to one of the previous owners. This wing hasn't been used in years." Katie frowned. "But why would it be hidden?" Before anyone could answer, a piercing scream echoed through the house. The adults exchanged alarmed looks before rushing toward the sound. Electra finds sanctuary. Electra's desperate flight led her to an unexpected refuge, a small chapel nestled in the heart of the city. She pushed open the heavy wooden doors and collapsed onto a pew, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. The silence of the chapel was a stark contrast to the chaos she'd just escaped. A kind-faced priest approached her. "Are you all right, my child?" he asked gently. Electra nodded, though tears streamed down her face. "I just need a place to rest for a while," she whispered. The priest nodded. "You're safe here." But was she? Outside, Remy stood in the shadows, his eyes fixed on the chapel's entrance. He wasn't done yet.